Hi, this is your host Sapnil Bhartiya, and we are here at Open Source Summit in Vienna, Austria. And today we have with us once again Markus Kümmerle, Marketing Committee Chair of Camara Project. Markus, it's great to have you back on the show.
Yeah, hello.
It's my pleasure to host you again. Before we get started, just really tell about yourself.
I had the great chance to lead the API initiative within Deutsche Telekom for the past 4 years now. And I'm happy that now I've handed over to a line organization, which is a clear commitment for that business. And I'm also part of that line organization with the engineering part of it. Besides, we identified very early that it's necessary to standardize the APIs. And for that, we initiated Camara. And I led also the Camara initiative for a couple of years and now have handed over to the technical steering committee. And now I'm stepped back into a different role, which is the marketing lead, the chair of the marketing company.
Can you talk quickly about what is Camara Project all about?
Camara project is about the standardization of telco APIs. So to make this ecosystem happen, you need different steps. The one, you need the products, and this should be standardized across telco networks and countries to enable a scalable business. That's the one. For that reason, we have initiated Camara project. It has grown very well. We now have above 1,100 people from more than 400 companies, which is a great success. And we are now happy to announce the first meta release of Camara, which means that we now have clear defined timelines on the one hand, and on the other side, clear quality criteria which the APIs have to fulfill. And that's a clear commitment to our customers, to the industry, to provide the best APIs. So that's Camara. It's well established, it's growing well. That is step one. Step two, we have to help the telcos, the operators, to expose the APIs. For that, Open Gateway was initiated. Open Gateway provides all the standards and helps other companies to provide solution for the API exposure. Here we are very well. In a third step, and that's a new thing, it was announced last week that the 12 biggest telcos together with Ericsson have launched will launch a new company, a new aggregator to aggregate the APIs globally. So that helps us to serve global customers directly, but also the local customers, because the telcos can rebuy the aggregated APIs and sell it to their customers. So that's a great move to bring the APIs close to the customers. So that's step number 3. And now the missing step, that's the last one, is getting close with the developers and working on the best APIs. And that's the way forward we have.
And when we talk about telcos and when we talk Camara, are we talking about any specific area, any specific API? Because telcos, they do a lot of things, we can look at the consumer use case, which could be cellular. But so are there any specific use case that Camara targets, or it doesn't matter?
We want to create APIs which provide a value for our customers. In the moment, the APIs are still technical because we have our technical capabilities. We work to get in touch with the developers and the customers. But the target is to have, at the end, intent-based APIs. So look at this fraud business. In the moment, we have APIs where we can check the SIM, if the SIM was changed, or check the location of a caller. But that's not what the customers want. They want to have an indication of fraud. And it's our part to put all things together to provide the information. So we have to change the level of these APIs to a more intent-based. And that's the way forward. If you are asking on the areas, I think fraud is a good starting point because we get more and more digital business. And for that, unfortunately, we have more and more fraud. And so if we can help to prevent it, it's a real value, and people are also willing to pay a little bit for that. So that's a good starting point. A second area is about the location. So we know where the devices are. Sure, we have to consider data privacy. So for a lot of the cases, we need the consent of the end users for that. But that's fine, we have solutions for that. And that is a great area, for example, also for logistics cases. They want to be notified if a truck reaches a store, that they can prepare the unloading or loading. And we have the solution for that. So it's a good good next area. And then probably it's about communication. So we know how the network behaves, how congested it is, how a connection is at a certain location at a certain time. So we can provide that information that applications can prepare their caching, for example, to improve the user experience. Or at the end, we also can influence the connection, so give it more priority or reduce a little bit the bandwidth, reserve the bandwidth, for special cases to ensure a very reliable communication.
So it's more or less like, organization wide different, area, because we live in an API driven world either way. So it's more or less to standardize those APIs, to simplify them. What impact does Camara have on telcos, either to deal with complexity, either to deal with interoperability of different operators, and also to bring the cost down?
So it helps, I think, for all of that. The main thing is a lot of the use cases are only working if you have the APIs in all the networks in all the countries. So standardization is key, and if you can then provide starter frameworks and code for new telcos to implement it, that helps also to bring the cost down. So this APIs is I think a good next step for the telco industry to monetize the big invests in all the infrastructure.
Can you now talk about some of the progress or improvements, the new releases, of the Camara, and what kind of improvements you have made over the years?
Yeah, so in the beginning, we started with a couple of sub-projects, and they worked independently on their APIs with different speed, with different quality criteria, which is good for the starting, but at the end, to provide a reliable solution for the industry, you need a release management on top of it. And this release management is now established. So we are happy now to announce the first meta release of Camara, which is around with 25 sub-projects. So they all fulfill the quality criteria, the guidelines, the standards, like OpenID security for the APIs, but they also are committed for a defined schedule. So they want to deliver 2 releases each year. So it's plannable for the operators to implement. It's plannable for the customers where they see will a new version come. So it's more reliable and more stable and more professional. It's a really good move for Camara.
Now, can you talk about what kind of ecosystem is there around Camara? Are we looking at operators? Are we looking at hardware vendors? What makes your community?
So the ecosystem consists on the vendor side who create the real APIs, the products. That is one part. Then we need companies to help operators to expose. So there are software companies or solution providers which help to have a service exposure solution for the operators. Then we are happy to invite all the operators to this new company, to this new API venture, because we want to have a global coverage, and all the companies are invited to help to bring the APIs in. That is the next level. And then at the end, we want really to work close with the aggregators, with the hyperscalers, to give these APIs also them, that they can create the best products out of it. So besides that, I think we need consulting companies to help new players to find their way in it, and also software companies to include it in their software products, in their SDKs. So that are the type of companies we love to have in this ecosystem. And yeah, we are happy for all companies who want to join. So we invite all to join. There is no exclusivity. We want to be very diverse and invite all the companies to this ecosystem, and especially to Camara.
Can you also talk about what are some of the challenges that the community is still facing, and you're like, hey, we have to address that problem?
So we have now implemented the infrastructure for the whole thing. Now we have to bring it into life. And that means we are happy to invite all the telcos of this planet to join this, because we need a global coverage to make it successful. So that's one big thing. The other thing is really to get in contact now with customers, with developers, to understand their use cases and what they really need, the real demand of them to create the best APIs.
Are there any new use cases, new markets emerging, which are putting a lot of pressure, a lot of load on telcos? Like EVs. They're all connected. They're getting all the updates all the time. Or any other market where you're seeing it's putting a lot of pressure, it's stringing in on telcos, but through these standardized APIs, it will solve those problems. What are the new challenging use cases you're seeing?
So what's really new? As I already told, a lot is going on in fraud, because unfortunately fraud is increasing by the increasing digital business. So there are a lot of questions coming in. We get a lot of questions about location from the companies, and also new things about AI. So a lot of questions are coming from AI. We can use AI for two things. The one, in the API creation, because we can use our data. By use of AI, we can create results and expose it via APIs. That's one thing. But also, it's interesting to be integrated in the large language models as a telco agent, so that automatically our APIs are used for services.
What's next in your pipeline? What are the things that you folks are working on?
Yeah, the next thing is really clear. We have to get close to developers. That's really key now. For that, we are happy to be here at the event, at the Linux Foundation Open Source Summit Europe. Here are the developers. Here we have the talks. And that has to be intensified. That's the missing piece. And I think if you have done it and found the best use cases for the best APIs, then we have it.
Markus, once again, thank you so much for taking time out today and give us an update on the Camara project. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I look forward to our next discussion. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.